I thought I was out. Pull me back in.
Well guys, I might have finally done it. Might have gotten us closer and closer to 30 FPS than ever before. In this video I'm going to show you some new settings that I found, as well as doing some more benchmarks, comparing and kind of showing my results and showing us how we got there. But as usual, I'll leave all the settings and stuff at the end, and I'll tag it in the video description. So if you don't care to watch or listen to me ramble on about whatever, by all means just skip ahead and try it out for yourself. But I do implore you to watch. I'll be giving away another video game as well during this video. So look forward to that as well if you're into that. So again, just a thank you to everyone who's subscribed. We're at 141 now, I believe, at the time I'm recording this. So thank you again. Definitely not necessary. I will never ask you to or beg you or anything like that. But yeah, so today's giveaway is just going to be Train Valley 2. It was a part of a 2-key mystery game that I got. The other one was the 3000th duel that I gave away yesterday. I'll admit, this isn't my cup of tea, and probably not a lot of people's cup of tea, but it is a very positively reviewed game, and I'm sure in its genre, it's a very good game. I'm just not into those types of games. So I figured instead of me redeeming it or whatever and just letting it sit there, I'll give this one away too. So maybe this one might be up a little bit longer because people might not want to put in the work for just a Train Valley game, but I'm sure there's probably one of you out there that is geared up and ready to go. So congratulations to the winner. I'll start doing the codes right now, and I'll do it the same as before, where we put them throughout the video. And they'll all be in sequential order, so you just need to watch from beginning to end. Get a pencil and piece of paper or something, or just type it out on your phone, or whatever. Whatever way is easiest for you. But yeah, so then we'll get into the video proper now. So, just to recap yesterday's video that I put up, it was mainly a comparison between SteamOS 3.4.6 versus SteamOS 3.5. And now that is significant because there's an SMT bug apparently, and it's fixed in 3.5. So I updated to 3.5. It's through the main beta channel update. You have to enable developer options to get to it. If you need help, it's a quick Google search, or just shoot me a message and I'll walk you through it. But anyway, so my testing was mainly between SteamOS 3.5 and 3.4.6 again, sorry. And the differences between mainly the 1% lows. So you can see here that yes, 3.5 from my findings yesterday did do better than 3.4.6. The perceived smoothness was a big game changer for me, and that kind of reflects in the 0.1% lows here, how they're double or whatever. So now I was tooling around with it again last night after I thought I was done with this damn game. And I found some more settings, and I experienced doing my longer gameplay benchmark run of the 135-second run. I noticed that there was more opportunities for the game to stutter. So it kind of gave me a bit more of a opportunity to play and tweak with settings to kind of optimize it a bit more. So this video is going to be going into those new settings and the benchmarks. As well, just to recap, here were the settings that I was using in that video. SteamOS 3.5 and then everything listed below. Cryo Utilities was being used as well, which I forgot to list in here. Okay, so getting into it, because there was a new Yuzu 3599 update, there was 2 updates, I think, actually, since yesterday's video. So I decided to redo my gameplay benchmark with my old settings and locking the GPU as well, just to kind of play around with what that might do. So as you can see here, I locked it at the 800 that I found in one of my other videos, and then I kicked it up to 1000, and then 1200 as well. So as you can see here, I got the best results with 1200 megahertz on GPU lock. I did see online other people were kind of using 1200 to 1000 as well, and that is kind of the sweet spot for it. So going forward with my testing, I am recommending 1200 megahertz GPU lock. So now I have these new mods, which I'll list here as well. And with these new mods, I did some testing as well. So here's our best run with 1200 megahertz on the old mods. And then with my new mods, with the 30 new FPS mods, we have the new 30 FPS mod and the new dynamic mod, which I believe is 1.41 now. So I did testing of those, and I have testing with all mods except 720p mod. So as you can see here, results are fairly... I mean, technically they were better with my old settings and everything, so take that for what you will. But we are going forward with it anyway, because there's some interesting results in here. So now, I'm going with my new settings, which I'll list here, that I was tweaking around with last night, and this is kind of what I came to with more consistent gameplay. So doing the extended gameplay benchmark, I noticed that there was more moments of stutters that would occur because I was playing for longer, obviously. So it allowed me to kind of tweak these settings further to get less and less stutters and a more solid, kind of closer to 30 FPS. We're not going to get a near 30 FPS lock, but damn, it's pretty close most of the time, I'd say. So as we can see here, with the new FPS mods, just the 30 and the dynamic mod, and with my new, this was the old run, and with my new settings, we can see here that we got a 28.2 average versus 27.9 average, and I did the new settings run 3 times. So they were both, or all 3 of them were 1200 GPU lock, and just with the new settings applied. And so we can see here the results are fairly consistent. And honestly, I'd say a touch better than my old settings. So going forward, I'm using my new settings, and we're just going to keep continuing testing these settings. So there was one setting in my previous video, or my 2 videos ago now, that I found accelerate ASTC texture decoding. Turning that off did help with my minimums during that benchmark. So my new settings, I turned it on, but I did leave all my new settings and then just turn this off to see if it made a difference. And as you can see here was our best last run from our new settings second run. And here are 3 runs with ASTC texture decoding turned off. And you can see here it's pretty consistently worse, especially the 0.1% and the 1% lows. Even the FPS average is lower consistently. So going forward, I'm using my new settings with ASTC texture decoding turned on. So now, I also played around with the Force Max clock speeds in Yuzu, as well as setting GPU to high, as my new settings are GPU normal. So here was our new settings best run, and here's Force Max clock 3 runs I did. As you can see, like this first and second run, so this is going to get into something else as well. I believe there's a possible memory leak happening in Yuzu and when you're playing Tears of the Kingdom as well. So what that kind of manifests for me was the more I was playing and the more I was backing out of the emulation and going into Yuzu and applying the new settings, this was all in game mode as well. So it was still technically running that instance. I noticed that when I was making settings changes and I was going back to my old settings, I wasn't getting the same performance. So what I ended up doing is I restarted the actual game before doing the tests again when I did settings changes. So I believe that it will show more in the next slide. But as you can see here, so I did, this is when I restarted it on the third run, my apologies. So you can see here the first and the second run, and then I did a third run as well, and that's when I kind of restarted it and we got more in line with our old things, with our old testing. But I'm still going to recommend Force Max clock off and leaving GPU on normal. So now there's these LOD mods as well. So the LOD mod, what it does is there's a patch, which I believe fixes some things wrong with it, but then there's an actual mod that will disable the LOD changing when the FPS drops. So the LOD is level of detail. So think of it when you're going towards a tree or something, and the further you're away, it looks like pixelated, crappy, like, you know, whatever. But as soon as when you start getting closer and closer and closer, that level of detail starts drawing in more and more, and then you can see more of the detail of the tree, the leaves, the branches, and all the things like that. It's a very rudimentary kind of way of explaining it. But so what this mod does is apparently when it drops below a certain threshold of FPS, I think 20 to 15, the game is designed to drop the level of detail when it detects those drops. This mod removes that. And apparently some people were getting better results. Some people were getting not so better results. I don't know. So I decided just to test it anyway. So as we can see here from our best previous one, we got 29 FPS average still. So LD mod disabled run 1 and 2. Again, this is where I kind of noticed the memory leak as well. So I redid instead of doing a third run, I redid the sanity check of my original mods and new settings, and I got more in line with what I was getting before. So the 0.1% lows and the 1% lows mainly. But even the FPS average was 26.3, 24.2. So I did a rerun of restarting the game, and I did LOD mod disabled rerun, and then I did LOD disabled run 2. And this is when we started getting the better results, when I restarted it. So as you can see here, the LOD mod disabled run 2 is my new baseline moving forward, because these were our best results. 29 FPS average, amazing 10.9, 1% low, and then a fantastic 6.5, 0.1% low, I believe, just in the past few days of playing this. So moving forward, because of the SMT bug and everything, in my last video, for SteamOS 3.4.6 versus 3.5, SMT is fixed in 3.5. So once I dialed in all of my settings, which again, I'll list again here, these are my new recommended settings going forward. So I just wanted to test straight up 3.4.6 versus 3.5. So as you can see here, my new baseline of 3.4.6, we have 29 FPS average, 10.9, 1% low, and 6.5, 0.1% low. SteamOS 3.5, I did 3 runs. So we got 29, 29, 29 all across the board for FPS average. The 1% lows were better every run, and the 0.1% lows were better only one run, or equal to only one run. But honestly, playing it, the smoothness is... Unfortunately, I can't record it because my capture card just doesn't work with 3.5 for some reason. I can get it to display HDMI out, but it will not trigger the capture card. So I wish I could play proper footage of this running as smooth as it is, but unfortunately the footage that I have is 3.4.6. So it will look a little choppy, but if you're really hardcore into this and you really want to get the best possible experience, go SteamOS 3.5. So finally, I did play with some TDP settings as well. So here's our SteamOS 3.5 run 2, which is our new baseline. And then I just did 13 watt TDP runs because honestly, I think that's probably the most you might be able to get out of it. And then you might be able to get 12, but honestly, I would not go below 12. Anything below, it starts to kind of get all wonky and whatever. So I did 4 runs, of the TDP run. So the first run, second run, they were pretty well in line with my new baseline results. A little bit worse than the first run there and the 1% lows, but then the second run, it kind of evened out again. If not, the 1% lows were better, but still with a margin of error. So for the third run, this is when I started noticing the possible memory leak again of when like it would just trigger a stutter and then it just would not get out of that stutter and it would chug and chug and chug and then eventually it would pull itself out of that stutter. So you can see that's kind of represented in the 1% lows as well as the FPS average here because it is like at least 2 FPS lower. Still within margin of error, but honestly, like it's definitely felt. So if you are getting moments of slowdown, severe slowdown, where you think like, oh, this should be performing better. I played this yesterday or a couple hours ago, whatever. Restart the game. And hopefully that should kind of fix any performance issues. I noticed it more so when I was just going back and forth into Yuzu changing settings, but it can happen when you do a bunch of loads in a row as I was doing with the benchmarks. So if you do get that problem, just restart your game. So as you can see here, here's our fresh boot run with a TDP of 13 still. And this still brought us in line relatively close to our SteamOS 3.5 run 2. It's still lower 1% low as an FPS average. The 0.1% low is a little worse as well, but you're getting those battery savings by the 2-watt difference there. I'm not going to do full on battery testing because, damn, I'm sick and tired of this game, I'll be honest with you. But feel free to play with the TDP. 13 watts seems to be safe. Play around with 12. You might get some okay results with that, but 13 should be okay. If you don't care, just go full tilt 15 and you'll get even better, I'm sure. So, in conclusion, with all my settings and the Yuzu tweaks and all that stuff and the mods, I'd say Tears of the Kingdom is in a fairly decent state right now on the Steam Deck. It's honestly getting better and better literally every day. As you can see in my past 3 videos of just the performance and the tweaks made, how much performance there is still left to be had. Whether we'll get to a point which it performs better than the Switch remains to be unseen. But we are getting very, 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 very close to Switch-like performance, and the FPS is getting very close to a 30 FPS stable lock, especially with these settings. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Hopefully this is my last Tears of the Kingdom video for now. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of doing it and all these benchmark runs. But if there's anything major, I'll make another video and do more runs and whatever. But anyway, so congratulations to the winner. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Remember, don't bother liking and subscribing.